Hello and welcome to another Facts and Dimensions Spotlight dataset. In this video, I'm going to be describing one single table called Data Dictionary XSD Elements Info. And this table is the result of several months of solid work, but it's been well worth it as it's become a very useful table in the NHS. So a bit of background about what's going into this table and why. With the NHS, we're very fortunate in that we have a single repository of our outpatient data, a single repository of our inpatient data, and of our A&E data, and several other data sets. And the reason we're able to have a single repository, a single table, in fact, of all of our inpatient data is because we have a nationally prescribed definition of what should go into that data. So here's the website that NHS specialists have to go into when they need to understand how to build that data set. They'd click in here, datasets, and then they'd pick the version they're on, which, as at the time of the video, is CDS version 6.3. And let's go for finished general episodes CDS. So that's the inpatient episodes of care. And then they go down here, reading all this and seeing that in the first column, they need unique booking reference number or patient pathway identifier. And then in the second column, organization identifier. And then in the third one, referral to treatment period status and so on. So they're using this web page to understand what needs to go into the file. They then have to convert the CSV files that they create into XML format, which is what the SUS, which is the national repository of all these datasets, accepts. So most hospitals will either convert those files into XML internally, or they'll submit them to a company such as Indigo 4, and they're not the only ones. They're the ones I happen to know the name of off the top of my head, to create the XML files. Whoever does it, internally or externally, the company, the organization, or the person that's doing it needs to go to the TRUD website, this one here, the NHS Digital TRUD website, and they need to go to the Commissioning Dataset XML Schema section, where they can download a zip file that describes exactly what is allowed to go into that CDS dataset. I've already downloaded the latest one, 6.3.1, which is here, and I've extracted it here, and there's these files. And I think the most important one is standard data elements 631 here. So I'll just show that in Notepad. This file describes all those fields and what's allowed in them. So like here, date of birth type. That is a date type field, and it has allowed values between this and this. There's all these different simple types that are used within the data set. So here's a simple type called integer type. If I just look for that, you can see that, say, the sequence number type is using the integer type. So this is where you would sort of join this table back on itself to understand fully all of the data elements. So I'm going to look at admission method. First of all, I'll look at it on the website. So if we go down to admission method, if I just search for it on here we are, method of admission, this field here. By clicking there, we can see from the website, these are the allowed values, 11, 12, 13, 21, and so on, all the way down to there. If we go to the XML XSD file, which is the standards file, we can see admission method is allowed those codes, the same ones that are described on the website here. So that data has been pulled out of this XSD document and put into here, where we've got the name. So here we have the name, admission method code, hospital provider spell type, that's here. Along with the zip file name and the XSD file within, and the restriction type and the restriction values. So I've already filtered on admission method, and you can see that the values allowed in 6.0, version 6.0 of CDS is these ones. And you can see in version 6.2.0, it's these ones which have these extra codes here. And you can see 6.3, it's these ones. You might also notice that it's the same codes are in there more than once. Now, one thing we've noticed with the CDS XSD packs is that they sometimes release another version of the same version. So in this case, 6.3, and they release it twice. Once with each with a different date. It's not actually on the page now, but you could get a copy from there if you wanted. Although you don't need to because we have it here. But you can see here that they released version 6.3 on the 16th of September 2021, and then they released 6.3 again on the 9th of November 2021. And the only way to tell the difference is from that file name, hence why we put the file name in here. So all of these fields that are going to the CDS data that gets submitted to SUS are in here, taken directly from this XSD file. Now, why have we done that? What is the use? So when creating the XML data, you have to ensure that the data in the XML files meets the standards in this XSD file. That's what the purpose of the XSD file is. So when the specialist in the hospital is creating the CSV files and trying to convert them to XML, they'll be using this XSD file, which will allow them or not allow them to do that. And if it can't convert, they'll get some sort of error message explaining what's going wrong. Or if they're submitting him to an external company that specializes in this, such as Indigo 4, there are plenty of others, but Indigo 4 is the one I know the name off the top of my head. They will, as I'm aware, will submit back to the hospital an error report, which will cause the hospital then fix their data and resubmit it over and over until they get it right. What would, of course, be far superior is to actually get the data correct in the database in the hospital the first time. And they can do that by creating test scripts that test the data in their CDS warehouse against this table to make sure that the codes that they're putting for each of the fields is correct for the version that they're working on. That way, you can make sure that the data you're submitting will be passed first time, which would reduce the workload, but also would ensure that you get paid faster, because if a commissioner gets his data sooner, then presumably they'll pay sooner. Now, this is quite a complicated data set, and I would expect people to ask us questions on the forum if you're still stuck. But the main benefit from this video is letting you know that this table exists, because time and again with our customers, we've found that they weren't even aware that this table was here. So stay tuned to this YouTube channel, where we'll be releasing more and more videos spotlighting different data sets, probably forevermore, as I don't see any end to new data sets coming out. Thank you very much. Bye.